You can always tell time and capitalism by advertisements. Look at what's being sold to you. So Bumble has all of these new billboards condemning women for taking a break from the dating game. Here's one, you know full well a vow of celibacy is not the answer. Same words, different ads. They're telling you, oh, we know the dating game is rigged, but you still have to play.
Let's talk about advertising and how our quest to be the perfect wife, perfect mother, perfect homemaker in a beautifully decorated home used to get us killed. But we had to do it because our value as women was all wrapped up in getting a husband, keeping a husband, having beautiful, perfect, well-dressed, turned out kids, and having, most of all, a lovely home. Look at my house. Look at my children. Aren't I living the perfect domestic life? I'm the perfect wife. And these are all the things you had to do to be a perfect wife. Not even a perfect wife, just to be a good wife. You had to do a lot of those things. Definitely watch Cecilia Regina's video about the shift and how you can tell what's going on in the culture based on the advertising, how you can tell the trajectory of capitalism, patriarchy, misogyny, whatever, based on the advertising. The advertising is really a good way of kind of like checking the pulse of what's going on in this country. But y'all, this is not new. I did a video a while back about how our idea of the nuclear family and the happy housewife was basically an advertising op. That it was private industry and government working together and creating all of this propaganda to convince women to leave the workforce after World War II and go back into the home, that you'd be so happy and be fulfilled if you were some GI's housewife living in Allentown or living in Levittown. Oh, it's so great. Don't worry about working. That's for boys. You want to be a wife and mother. Now, that was during the golden age of advertising. So it was like patriarchy propaganda on steroids, right? But this shit ain't new. It goes back a few years before that. And influencers have always existed. We have a lot more of them now, and they operate in different forms of media. These influencers weren't always paid, but we've always had influencers. One of the biggest influencers we've ever had in the Western world, Queen Victoria. She's the entire reason why we wear white when we get married. There she is. That's a picture of her in her wedding dress. 1840, I believe, was the year that she got married. And after that, wearing white at your wedding became a thing. She started that trend. Influencer. And that was the beginning of the idea of this whole wholesome family domestic way of living that the Victorian era, so named for the lady herself, propagated first. In terms of modern media in the modern world, industrial revolution, mass media production of things like magazines and newspapers and everything, she was a big part of the influence of family life back in the day. And not only were these ideas perpetuated about how to live a perfect domestic life damaging for women in terms of our liberation, they were damaging to our health too.
This was the first age of mass advertising. Back in the 1850s and 1860s, it had been thought ungentlemanly to advertise. Now, for the first time, advertising became powerfully visual. Photography and art were used to sell goods. Advertising agencies were founded, and celebrities started to endorse products.
The power of advertising put new pressure on Victorians and would lead to increased risks.
And these advertisements are particularly aimed at the upper class and the middle class woman. And what they're trying to say is, if you don't buy our products, if you don't use our products, you will be a failure as a housewife, as a woman. So they really played on insecurities. And what they did was they got everyone to buy all kinds of dangerous substances under the guise of perfecting your home.
By the way, this is from a BBC special, I believe, called The Dangers of the Victorian Home. And they also did one on the dangers of the Tudor home and the dangers of the Edwardian home. That's what you're seeing. Having your complexion look a certain way. Check this out.
But beauty came at a cost. Makeup was not subject to any safety testing. Many new products made bogus claims, but were dangerous, and in extreme cases, a killer.
The Edwardian woman was told to make herself beautiful to catch her husband and to keep her husband. By doing so, she covered her face in poison.
1909, Vogue was advertising arsenic wafers, which you would take to get rid of, you know, any poor skin issues, and arsenic soap for that offending pimple.
Edwardian makeup was a dangerous business. In fact, the early 20th century was poised on the verge of the mass production of cosmetics and the explosion of a whole new industry.
Since advertising became a thing, the advertising has always been primarily directed at women. So the stuff we put on our face to make us more attractive, to attract the perfect husband, to get the perfect family, to get the perfect house, that was the first bit, right? But also, this stuck with me forever when I heard about this first. Watch this.
One thing that particularly indicated both good taste and status was wallpaper. The richer the pattern and the darker, more vivid the colour, the better. Why? Because with the introduction of gas lighting for the first time in history, there was enough light in the house for ordinary people to have and enjoy intense colour on their walls.
Cattles even gives what it calls its theory of colour. It describes its rules for the artistic appreciation in dress, in furniture, and it recommends green. It calls it a colour of repose. It says the eye experiences a healthy and peculiarly grateful impression from this colour.
A particularly brilliant green, known as Scheele's green, was all the rage. Its incredible popularity meant that it was used in everything from carpets, blancmange, candles and children's toys. But most of all, it was used in industrial quantities in wallpaper. There was one strange coincidence. As wallpaper sales escalated, so did reports of unexplained deaths and illnesses in the home. But there was nothing mysterious about it. The magic ingredient that was giving the wallpaper its rich green hue was arsenic.
Arsenic, y'all. It was arsenic that produced the vivid color that made your wallpaper pop with the advent of the electric light. One thing I forgot to tell you, when I first went to the Tenement Museum a year or so ago, and I toured one of those turn-of-the-century tenement houses that they had found condemned in the 70s or 80s. And when they opened it up and looked inside, they realized it had not been touched since the 20s or 30s. So same wood paneling on the staircase, same stairs, same wallpaper. And the wallpaper in the entryway to that building was green. And I stayed the hell away from it during the whole tour. But anyway, moving on. And people were dropping like flies. Even some of the products that we have now, things like that, I got this whole tray of makeup right here, all this stuff, you know, there are chemicals and all this stuff too. And while we have to have vigorous testing for cosmetics now, mostly on animals, sadly, you didn't used to have to do that. So God only knew what was in cosmetics if you were living in like the 1920s or something. Who the hell knew what they put in that crap? And in the beginning, it was literal poison. Think about the 70s. What was going on in the 70s? Women's liberation. We got abortion rights in 1973, which were taken away a couple years ago. We had the Credit Fairness Act, so they couldn't deny us credit because we were a woman. The Pregnancy Discrimination Act, so we couldn't be fired because we were pregnant. All these great strides towards women's liberation. What do you think the cigarette companies did? So the cigarette companies looked around and said, I know a great way we can get women to start smoking. We can increase our market share. And here's what they did. Some of y'all might be too young to remember this.
You've come a long way, baby. We make Virginia Slims especially for women because they are biologically superior to men.
Yes, Philip Morris used women's liberation to sell women poison. America. My point is this. Whether it's the happy housewife image, poisonous cosmetics, arsenic-laden wallpaper, or lung cancer as liberation, the advertising industry has always been gunning for women, and they've always been trying to sell us stuff that is not good for us. Just like that billboard from Bumble. Don't be celibate. You should put yourself out there. You should date men. Selling us stuff that is not good for us. Note to capitalism, this time, we ain't buying.